Welcome to the Professional Hate Watching Association. I don't even have everything set up yet because there it is. Welcome to the Professional Hate Watching Association. I'm back with Daniel. I'm Ethan, obviously. We had to dust off the go live button because there is a lot to discuss. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but the trade deadline is going on right now. And obviously we have a lot of headlines to go through there. But before we start with all the trade news that's happened and the stuff that might happen, we've missed a couple weeks. A lot has happened in the NBA period. Daniel, what has been the craziest not even headline, but what stood out to you the most in the few weeks that we've been off the air?
I think we have to start with the Paul George suspension that just happened a few days ago. So for everybody that doesn't know, Paul George got suspended for 25 games for violating the NBA's personal drug policy, like whatever they call it. And funny enough, it was after he had arguably like maybe the best game he's had as a Sixer against the Bucks last week in Philadelphia. He made, I think, 9 threes or something like that, scored 32 points, and immediately following that game, 2 days after, boom, gets suspended for violating the drug policy. I think that's easily the funniest thing I've seen over the last week or so. And granted, he did say that he was taking a supplement for a mental health issue, took full accountability for that. Obviously, whatever mental health struggles he's going through, I hope Paul George is doing okay and pulls through that. But just the fact that he had his best game as a Sixer and immediately gets drug tested and suspended after that, like you just can't make that up. And it pretty much just sums up Paul George's tenure in Philadelphia, I feel like.
The ironic part about that is the Sixers have been proving me kind of right this season. And remember how at the beginning of the year I said the Sixers might be able to hit 40 wins and we might be talking about them crashing the play-in party, the Miami, right, Atlanta, Chicago Invitational.
Yeah.
And they've been playing pretty well. And now with the Paul George suspension and another move that's part of the trade deadline conversation, I don't know what's going to happen with them now. Joel Embiid isn't washed, though. That was the biggest thing that stood out to me.
So what's this saying he's back?
Just the NBA in general. One of the biggest takeaways for me was the fact that Joel Embiid is back.
He is back.
Whatever miracle the doctors did on his knee, like, make it public, please, because you might be able to save lives with that.
Yeah.
So Joel Embiid being back, I think, is also really cool because he's putting up around the same efficiency that he had during his MVP season. So
right, exactly.
It's up there. I could rant about the Warriors as well. I could still rant about the Warriors applying to the trade deadline conversation that we're going to have, because what are the Warriors doing? A whole lot of nothing. A whole lot of nothing. I think Mike Dunleavy Jr. has he's just on Instagram.
He's asleep at the wheel or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
I think he's on Instagram. I just think he's on
Reels. He might be scrolling through Reels.
I guess I can't make fun of him for that because I do the same thing, but I'm also not a general manager of one of the most important franchises in sports. Anyway, let's get into this trade talk because we knew that it was going to be a busy trade deadline. We knew it from weeks ago when Trae Young got sent to Washington. So we knew that moves were on the way. We talked about John Morant potentially getting moved. Ironically, at the time of this recording, John Morant has not been traded yet. So he has not been moved, but we have a lot more to talk about. So I guess what better place to start with than a trade that kind of undoes the worst trade of recent memory, which is Anthony Davis getting shipped to the Washington Wizards. So when I first thought about this, I thought about how, AD isn't even playing right now. He's still hurt. So there's that.
Yeah.
Second, we kind of thought that this was going to happen because of the whispers of when Anthony Davis got hurt. There was a big interest in how long he was going to be injured because that was probably going to affect if he was going to get traded. And now here he is getting shipped off to Washington. So somebody made a joke. I don't think you're going to find this. Actually, you might find this funny. That the Mavs essentially traded Luka Doncic for Chris Middleton.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened. That's essentially what they did.
So before we look at this from the Wizards' perspective, because I actually think it makes a little more sense, what was your reaction to this trade?
So I kind of have the same reaction I have to the Utah Jazz and Memphis Grizzlies trade that we're going to get into. I can kind of see why the Wizards wanted to make this move because they already traded for Trae Young. They have Alex Sarr, who's shown to be, despite the Wizards being one of the worst teams in the league, I think they have the fourth worst record in the league right now, the last time I checked. They think they have a core that's ready to compete for a play-in spot or a playoff spot next year in the Eastern Conference because who knows? Giannis might be out of the conference. Jason Tatum's going to be fresh off a torn ACL or Achilles, excuse me. And you just don't really know what the landscape of the East is going to look like. So I think that's why the Wizards made that move to get Anthony Davis in there because you look at them on paper and they're pretty good if healthy. Trae Young, Alex Sarr, and Anthony Davis as your big men down low. If Trae Young stays healthy, he's one of the better playmakers in the league. And the Wizards are going to be a really, really hard team to score on inside with all those big players down there like AD and like Sarr. But the reason why I think some people are questioning this trade is because the Wizards aren't supposed to be winning games right now. Like you said, Anthony Davis is probably not going to play much the rest of the season because he's hurt. But if he does play, that hurts their chances at keeping their top 8 draft pick, which is protected. So if it falls out of the top 8, it goes to the Knicks. The Wizards should be trying to lose as many games as possible so they can get a really good lottery pick this year and have a chance at drafting one of these super good players in the draft, whether it's like someone like Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa from BYU or Boozer from Duke. And so it's a questionable move because it hurts your long-term future, but makes you good in the short term. Plus, you're going to have to sign AD to a contract extension too. So I don't know how much that's going to cost salary cap wise. So a lot of weird things with this trade for sure.
Yeah, I somebody described it. Oh, I can't remember who. Somebody questioned if the Wizards were metaphorically taking their rebuild out of the oven too early.
Right.
And I don't know if that is the case. Well, I don't want to say that this is them taking their rebuild out of the oven too early, metaphorically speaking, because, you know, with all due respect to Anthony Davis, he's too injury prone. I wouldn't trust him to be a consistent second option on, or maybe they don't need him to be the second option anymore. Maybe he's option 3 behind Alex Sarr. But I don't know if I'm making this move to bolster the rebuild. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
the
yeah.
rebuild always happens where usually the formula is you bring up some young talent, and then you bring up some young talent, and then you make a move for a star player.
Right.
I don't know if I would have done this for Anthony Davis at this point in time. Even 2 years ago, yeah, I would have done it. But or like even last year when he got traded for Luka, like I probably would have done it. But knowing that he just keeps getting hurt again, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. If you're a rebuilding team like the Wizards are, the most valuable thing that you have is your draft capital. And because you're so bad, you know that those picks are going to be good. You know you're going to be getting a lot of ping pong balls when it comes time to draw it for the lottery. And you run the risk of giving up that draft capital to a Dallas team. And you have Anthony Davis, who's 32 years old, going to turn 33 next month in March. Just cannot for the life of him stay healthy. You hate to see it. Like every year you knock on wood. You hate to see it. Like every year you knock on wood that he can stay healthy, but he just can't seem to figure it out. I think right now it's a hand injury, right? Like it's a hand issue that's keeping him out. So I guess you just better hope that literally next year you can make the play-in tournament or make the playoff to sort of accelerate your rebuild and just hope that he stays healthy. But it feels like it's the same story every year with Anthony Davis. And he's showing you over and over and over again that over an 82-game season, it's just simply too much to ask of him to stay healthy and play 60 out of 82 games or a little more than that. So it's tough. It's a tough situation.
So let's shift it to the Maverick side of things.
Right.
Because I want to point out, as a lot of people already have, that this potential nucleus of Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, and Cooper Flagg never even played a single game together. So not only does this, I think, pose questions about what is Kyrie's future with Dallas, I think that it just shows that the Mavericks are just trying so hard and I can't really fault him for it, trying so hard to scrub every remnant of Nico Harrison out of this organization.
I just can't imagine when I looked at this trade today, the first thing I thought was where I don't even know where the Mavericks would be. I can't even begin to think about where they would be if they didn't win the draft lottery. Was it rigged? I don't know. It felt like it was rigged for them to win it, but if they didn't have Cooper Flag on this team and you trade Anthony Davis, like what? Not even it's been literally, I think a few days ago was the 1 year anniversary, right?
Yes, the night of February 1st to 2nd.
Of the trade, the 1 year anniversary. So he barely even plays for you and you trade him and you don't have Cooper Flag on this team. Like they'd be in danger of like relocation, to be honest with you. Like I think they'd be that bad and in that like bad of a pickle. Like I don't even know where to begin if they didn't have Cooper Flag. He's their only saving grace right now.
We've talked about the conspiracy already before about how this could be something that moves
to get them to Vegas or something. Yeah,
the chances are low, but not zero. I mean, you would have your number one, your cornerstone ready for you. You move to Vegas.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the case. I just think about how they also got rid of D'Angelo Russell.
Right,
but I don't know. I understand why Dallas made the move because clearly the new ownership or the new leadership, I should say, it's been the same owners.
Yeah.
The new leadership that has replaced Nico Harrison clearly did not agree with what he decided to do. Right. And I think personally, I don't know if it was a gross oversight. They just didn't give it enough thought, or they just maybe didn't think that it was going to be the case. I don't think they anticipated so much hate coming from the fan base about the Luka Doncic trade. I really don't think they thought it was going to be this bad.
Really? I don't know.
I really think so.
I just don't, looking back on it, I don't see any justification to work. Not justification. That's not the right word. I don't see any way like Mavericks, like brass basketball ops thought like they wouldn't get that reaction. I feel like there should have been no surprise as to how fans were going to react to the move and how they were going to treat Nico.
This is what happens when your former GM does not have experience being a GM of a franchise. Rather, he has experience in corporate. Nico Harrison used to work for Nike.
Yeah,
he ran it like a business. So
yeah.
I think it's just, and again, I'm not going to speak for or speak about everybody in the Mavericks organization because I agree with you. At some point, somebody should have just said, why would we make this trade?
Yeah.
Or at least not get another first round pick.
Yeah.
So obviously there's people are at fault here, but I really think because of how swiftly they changed everything, I really think that they just wanted to turn a new leaf. And that again brings back, like you said, brings back into further questions. Was the draft lottery actually rigged? Is there something there? Because now the Mavericks have a fresh start where they can build around Cooper Flag, their number 1 overall pick.
Right.
So
who's been playing amazing. He's been playing amazing.
And the really unfortunate thing is, and again, I'm not a Mavericks fan, so I'm not going to speak for Dallas fans. It seems like Cooper Flag, he's been playing great. It's between him and Con Knippel for Rookie of the Year at this point.
Yeah.
Cooper Flag just put up one of the greatest games I've ever seen with 49 points last week.
Yeah.
And yet the shadow of Luka Doncic still seems to loom over that franchise because he was just sent away. And it's unfortunate because Cooper Flag is obviously appreciated. And yet they can't, like, I feel like fans can't help but just wonder where this team would be if they just kept Luka Doncic and none of this was ever something they had to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Well, now they're trying to turn the new leaf, it seems like. I also want to point out that the Mavericks are getting Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malachi Branham, Marvin Bagley III, and 2 first-round picks and 3 second-rounders. While the Mavs are giving up, along with Davis, Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Dante Exum.
Yeah.
So they're cleaning house on the guards.
Exactly. One thing I saw today, somebody mentioned on Twitter about how Anthony Davis just can't escape playing with D'Angelo Russell. They're just like bound to play together, maybe for the rest of their careers. Chris Middleton getting traded to Dallas. I think if they do keep him, it'll probably be like, I think that's a good vet for Cooper Flagg to have on the Mavs. Someone who's won a championship, someone who knows what it takes to play with an all-time great player in Giannis. So like, he'll be a good vet for him if they do decide to keep him and not buy him out. And then another thing I saw was that it's official. I forget which trade made it official. Every lottery pick from the 2018 draft class has been traded. They are not on their original team, which is crazy to think about because if you think about it, the King or Marvin Bagley, was drafted before Luka Doncic in that draft, right? Like the pick, was it the pick before? I don't remember.
It was, Marvin Bagley was pick 2. Luka was pick 3.
And now the Mavs ended up with Marvin Bagley at the end of the day. So that's
dang.
Yeah.
I think you're right because I'm looking at this lottery.
Yeah.
Wow.
The only one that's like actually still on their team is Miles Bridges, but he was drafted by the Clippers and traded there on draft night for Shea because the Hornets drafted Shea and they swapped the two of them. So
that's insane from the Hornets, by the way. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. They traded away Kobe Bryant and Shea. Let that sink in.
It's knocking on the door. Let it in. Speaking of the 2018 lottery, there was another player from the 2018 lottery that got traded yesterday. And I would say, I don't even know if I would say this is the second biggest move, maybe even the third, to be honest, which is crazy because it was the first one.
Yeah, okay.
The Grizzlies have traded Jaren Jackson Jr. to Utah
That was
Jazz.
the player I was thinking of.
So the Grizzlies have traded Jaren Jackson. They got 3 picks for him. 3 first-round picks for him. Is that correct? It's 3 first-rounders. Is it not?
3 first-rounders, yeah.
So where do we want to start? I mean, I guess I'll start with the Grizzlies, which is, I thought they were going to trade John Morant first.
Right.
Now, I don't know what your thought about this was. My first reaction was that, are they having trouble trading John Morant?
Mm-hmm.
Because John Morant, I said this last time, he puts butts in the seats. He just has, he has polarizing issues off the court that people might take exception to.
Yeah.
But like, bro, you got 3 first-round picks for Jaren Jackson III or Jaren Jackson Jr. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm mixing it up. Along with players. You traded some players too.
Right.
Walter Clayton Jr. has been in Utah for a whole 45 minutes. And then they just shipped his ass to Memphis.
Right.
He had that crazy dunk where the announcer said, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Then they were like, his trade stock's high enough. Let's send him to the Grizzlies.
Yep.
It's over for Memphis. It's over.
It is over.
I would argue it's been over for a while, but it's over.
I was going to say, I first want to actually honestly kind of applaud the Grizzlies for what they're doing, because I feel like it takes a lot for like these teams who spent a lot of time building themselves up. These GMs put teams together, they compete for championships, they get close, they don't make it. I feel like it takes a lot of guts and like honestly self-awareness to acknowledge when it's over, and that's what the Grizzlies are doing. It started in the offseason when they traded Desmond Bane to Orlando to get those 4 first-round picks for the Magic, and then you turn Jaren Jackson Jr. into 3 first-round picks, which I honestly think is a little bit of an overpay from Utah. 3 first-round picks for all of those players, and I know, and all those players.
Yeah, I was going to say, not to mention the players that they gave up. Obviously, it's not, needle movers, but you give up your rookie Walter Clayton Jr. Kyle Anderson is back in Memphis.
Slow-mo.
Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, and like you said, 3 first-round picks. Whereas Utah's getting Jaren Jackson Jr., Jock Londale, John Conchar, and Vince Williams Jr. Again, it's not a bunch of needle movers, but I imagine you probably keep at least a couple of them. Maybe you keep all of them for all I know.
Right.
But I get what you're saying with the Grizzlies. I think it just is clear that there was a miss somewhere, because if you go back to where you were in 2023 or 2022, when the Grizzlies were playing the Warriors in round 2 of the playoffs, and yes, they lost, but you just thought, wow, this team's going to be good. And then you go to the season after when they had the number 2 seed before they played the Lakers. You're like, wow, this team might we thought they were going to be what Oklahoma City is right now.
Right.
And you just wonder, where did it go wrong? You can
Right.
chalk it up to the controversies with John Morant, his injuries as well, not even about his off the court stuff, but just his inability to be available.
Yeah.
Uh I guess their major move that they made to bolster the roster was bringing in Marcus Smart.
Right.
Clearly that didn't work.
And those
So,
players also weren't messing with the coaching staff either, because they fired Taylor Jenkins in the middle of last season, who was the coach during all those seasons when they were successful in winning games.
yeah.
So, and I mean, Jaren Jackson Jr. is definitely not a scrub. Like, he's a
Mm-mm.
former defensive player of the year winner, not that long ago in 2022, but giving up 3 first-round picks for a guy who hasn't played to that level of defense since that season. He struggles with injuries. He's not really like a force down low. I see
I was
why
gonna say, he's a big man who should be getting more rebounds than he does.
yeah, and I said I was going to have a similar reaction to this trade than I did the Wizards trade. Clearly, the Jazz feel like they're ready next year to make the play-in or compete for the playoffs in the Western Conference. That's how they clearly feel by making this move, because they gave up 3 first-round picks for a guy in Jaren Jackson Jr., who is a big name. And on paper, like kind of like the Wizards next year, you look at the Jazz, they're kind of nasty because Keontae George, I don't know how much people have watched of him this year.
He's a hooper.
He's a hooper. Lauri Markkanen is one of the best players in the league. He didn't get much recognition because of how bad the Jazz are. Like, if he's healthy and playing and the Jazz are good, like, he can be an all-star for sure.
Yeah, I wasn't calling for the Warriors to trade for him for no reason. Come on.
Right.
Now.
And then they're going to get Walker Kessler back next year, I imagine. So, I mean, sort of like the Wizards, that defensive duo with Jaren Jackson and Walker Kessler on paper looks really, really good, because
Mhm.
Walker Kessler had a really great season last year.
Not to
As a
mention that Isaiah Collier is turning into a
dude, he played
really good. The man had 22 assists last night.
and played all 48
48 minutes.
against the Indiana Pacers, the corpse of last year's Pacers, all 48 minutes in a regular season game.
To get
Absolutely
win number
insane,
16.
insane work from Isaiah Collier. So
To get win number 16 at the beginning of February.
on
So
paper, next year, the Jazz, like, don't be shocked if they make the play-in. I'm honestly surprised that Danny Ainge made that trade, because I feel like Danny Ainge is kind of like, he's kind of like the Pat Riley of the Western Conference, to where, like, when it comes to making trades, he wants to get the best side of the deal, and he doesn't want to give up all that much. So I'm honestly surprised that he was willing to give up all that draft capital and all those players for Jaren Jackson. Like, Pat Riley, take notes, bro. You got until noon tomorrow. There's a guy in Milwaukee who's ready to move on. You got until noon tomorrow to make a move. Make your
that's
move.
so funny you say that. I was literally telling Mike Dunleavy Jr. the same thing yesterday. It's not the same as when the Grizzlies got Marcus Smart, because it's apples to oranges, but it's a similar feeling. What I mean by that is, this is no disrespect to Jaren Jackson. I think the ceiling is still that DPOY caliber player that we saw just a couple seasons ago.
Right.
But I don't know if Jaren Jackson is the piece that
you don't know if he's a needle mover.
I don't know if, well, okay. This Jazz team has 16 wins, and we are in the first week of February.
Right.
This is not a team that I thought was going to take the leap and go win a playoff series next year. Maybe they get into the playoffs next year, and I think that should be the expectation. But I just think about how, again, this Jaren Jackson has had, questions about if he is that menace down low that the Jazz probably would need him to be.
Right.
He's got questions about consistent rebounding. And, you can argue Lauri Markkanen kind of is the same. So are you running them both? Are you running Jackson at the center? What are you doing there? Obviously, Walker Kessler coming back would be big. What do you do with Kyle Filipowski? Like, I think it's a little bit of a crowded front court now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Danny Ainge just won championships, so he obviously sees something that I don't. I see the appeal of the trade, though. Like, I see it.
Yeah.
My point in saying this is that they might not be done making moves. Not
Right.
like at this I think they're done at this deadline.
Yeah.
But like, I think they do something this offseason, because I think the roster as it is right now, it's not ready to go and compete. I don't think it is.
I don't think so either.
Like,
and I feel it. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, Jaren Jackson. I don't think I think he could be a needle mover. Like you saw it in Memphis. I don't know if he's the needle mover that the Jazz get. Like
Right.
maybe they finally trade Lauri Markkanen and they
Right.
go and go do something else. But like if they can get again, Keontae George and Isaiah Collier have been transforming into a great backcourt, like arguably a backcourt of the future. But like, what if you go and get like a wing, like a star wing or something? I think that just takes it over the top. I mean, their wings are not bad,
Right.
but like I don't know. My point is I don't think they're done making moves.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like I'm really impressed with what I'll say it again, with what Memphis has been able to turn these assets into. Because if you were to tell me that Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Dude,
in 2026 would be worth 7 first-round picks, I probably would have slapped you in the face, to be honest with you, because I think that's a massive haul for those two guys. And who knows what they're going to get for John Morant. They did apparently lower their asking price for him because I guess they just want to get rid of him at this point. Like they just want him gone, which is sad to see, but they're kind of in that. I'm not going to compare them to the Thunder because they don't have their Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, like that franchise cornerstone that you can build around. Maybe that's going to be Walter Clayton Jr. I don't like, who knows? Like Shea was a throw in a trade a few years ago. So you never know what these guys who just get thrown into trades. You never know what they can develop into. But I mean, they're set up really, really nice for a rebuild, especially this year if they decide to keep tanking. This year's draft class is loaded, so maybe they find that guy in the draft this year and then develop him for the future.
or I think because of all the amount of the sheer amount of players that they traded with Jaren Jackson points to the fact that they're probably going to pull a Brooklyn Nets and use all of their picks or
Yeah,
most of them. My immediate thought process was you have 7 first-round picks from just these two trades. Package 4 of them and go get Giannis or something. Like
maybe.
just theoretically, I'm not talking about like not just Giannis specifically, but like package them together and go get a superstar.
Okay. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
because the Memphis, no disrespect to the city of Memphis, I've never been there before, so I'm not going to discredit it. But the Grizzlies are a franchise that if you don't have somebody putting butts in the seats, they kind of just fade into irrelevancy,
Yeah.
historically speaking.
Right.
So I would imagine ownership doesn't want that,
Yeah.
but they swung and hit on John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. So
Right.
they clearly trust their draft capabilities. And maybe they land one of those 5 superstar freshmen that are in the college basketball right now if they
We'll
all
see.
declare.
Yep.
So we're already halfway through this, and I'm just thinking about how we haven't even gotten to the trade that doesn't even that makes the least amount of sense to me on first glance. I'm talking about James Harden to Cleveland. Okay, where do we even start with this? Like, I don't even know where to begin with another James Harden trade. You know what? You know what I will say? I go back to whenever James Harden gets traded, it's like clockwork, or
Right.
whenever something with him happens. That clip of, I want to say it's the Mavericks announcer or play-by-play,
Yeah.
commentator guy
Yeah.
talking about how he's not the system, he's the problem.
You are
showed
not
up
the
on my feed
beard.
again.
You are not the system. You are the problem.
Mhm. And I'm not going to say James Harden's the problem, but like, dude, we've literally seen this 1, 2, 3 other times before this.
Yeah.
We have seen this movie before.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the timing of it. Maybe it makes more sense to you, but the timing of it just didn't make sense. The Clippers have been on a roll recently.
No, I said the exact same thing. This Harden trade request was unique compared to the other ones, and I didn't even know that was possible because, like you said, the Clippers over their last 20 games, like the Clippers and the Hornets have basically been the best teams in the NBA since the start of the new year, like in both conferences, respectfully, record-wise. And now you want to ask out when your co-starring Kawhi Leonard is playing probably arguably the best he's played since like maybe the championship year in Toronto or his first year on the Clippers. Maybe that's like the best he's looked this year since then. And they're starting to figure it out. And you ask out. I don't really understand it. Like, I think, is he just bored? Does James Harden literally just get bored and like want to switch things up? I don't even know anymore because I get why. Like, if you look at all the times he's been traded, they traded him from OKC to Houston, Everybody acknowledges that the Thunder may have made a mistake in doing that. Houston trades him to Brooklyn because he wants out. That he realizes that window is closed. He wants to go play with KD and Kyrie. Okay, that makes sense. But then it's like you get to Brooklyn. It doesn't even last 2 full seasons because he somehow has issues there. They trade him to Philly because he wants to go back and, like the Mavericks announcer said, play under a Daryl Morey team, play with Joel Embiid. They just drafted Tyrese Maxey. And then he just gets pissed at Daryl Morey. Like, Daryl Morey is a liar. That famous clip that dropped at 8 a.m. here on the West Coast because he was talking to a bunch of kids in China about how much he hates Daryl Morey. And so, okay, fine. You go to the Clippers. You say you want to stay in LA because he's an LA guy. He's from Los Angeles. He's playing with Kawhi, brand new arena, the whole thing. I just don't understand what could have possibly went wrong to want him to ask out. I just don't get it.
Clearly not all is right in the Clippers organization. If we go all the way back to Chris Paul getting literally sent home.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Chris Paul more, but they sent Chris Paul home, and we remember the vibes around the Clippers organization, how everybody was pointing the finger at them, but then they've started to play better. What are they, 16-3 in their last 19 games or something like that? Something ridiculous like that.
Some are saying it was the Chris Paul factor. Once they sent him home, they remembered how to play basketball.
You said it. I didn't. They said it. We didn't. I was just confused because, and this seemed to have come out of nowhere too, because 3 days ago, I heard no such thing as a James Harden trade. And then the night before he gets traded, so 2 nights ago, you probably got this notification too about how James Harden is working with the Clippers to get a deal done.
Right.
They were playing Philly that night. I remember this. They were playing Philly at home.
Yeah.
Philly smoked them. Dominic Barlow had a career high. Shout out to him. And they asked Kawhi and John Collins and other Clippers players about this rumor. And they go, I haven't heard about this.
Right.
We're playing well. It wouldn't make sense to me. And then the man gets traded the next day for Darius Garland, of all people.
Yeah.
So there's a couple questions I have. One is about why did James Harden want to get traded? That's question number one. And I don't know if we'll ever get an answer for that. But I'm okay with that because it's James Harden. It is what it is.
You kind of just don't question it at this point. It's like, oh, another James Harden trade request.
It's not
an NBA season without one.
It is weird because, again, the Clippers are winning now, and at this rate, they are going to make the playoffs. Not even the play-in, just the playoffs.
Yeah.
But what do the Cavs gain from this?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Darius Garland, his biggest red flag was that he was getting injured. He wasn't available. The best ability is availability. I understand that. But the Cavaliers' ceiling is obviously pretty solid.
Right.
What makes them think bringing in James Harden, a famous playoff dropper, is going to change that?
Exactly.
So, mind you, part of what you famously left out of his Philadelphia tenure was that he dropped 9 points in Game 7 against the Celtics when they blew a 3-2 conference lead or conference semifinals lead.
Yeah.
So I don't know why Cleveland makes this deal. I've learned to not question why James Harden requests trades. It is what it is, you know. Yeah. He'll probably say something eventually. But I don't know why Cleveland makes this trade because they obviously have a sense that their ceiling is the second round of the playoffs.
Right.
That's what it's been. And they want to break through that ceiling. So they go and get playoff dropper James Harden in his mid-30s. I don't know why Cleveland. It makes me think that Cleveland believes that this core that is led by Donovan Mitchell isn't going to work. And they traded away the first person that they could, easily trade away and not feel as big of an impact, which is Darius Garland, because he's hurt. So he's not, as impact player as he can be. But I just don't get it. I want
to point out two quick things, and then I'm going to try and maybe get inside the minds of the Cavs as to why they would want to make this trade. So I thought that Kawhi honestly had the funniest, as you would expect, Kawhi had the funniest response to when he was asked after that game about whether or not he had heard the rumors, because he was like, no, I was literally playing in the game. How could I have heard about the rumors when I was playing in a basketball game? So that just made me laugh because he said it in his like nonchalant, robotic tone. That was just hilarious. And then two, the Clippers and the Cavaliers are playing right now as we speak at Intuit Dome, and James Harden and Darius Garland are not playing. So I assume that's not too surprising, because I assume both of them probably have to pass physicals or something for the trade to actually go through and be official. So that's not surprising. And then why would the Cavs make this trade? I feel like this is what I would be thinking if I'm the Cavs. James Harden is averaging 25.4 points per game this year. It's the most he's averaged since 2019. That was the last season he averaged over 25 points a game. His last season on the Rockets is the last time he averaged that many. And so I think they saw what their ceiling was with a Darius Garland-led team, because Darius Garland's a fine point guard. Like at his peak, he's a really good point guard, but he's not a guy who at a peak like James Harden's can drop 30s and 40s in the playoffs. Because even though they lost that series you brought up in 2023 against Boston, I think it was game one when they stole game one in Boston, Harden had 45, I believe it was, or something in the high 40s. So his peaks and valleys are kind of all over the place in the playoffs, but I think they just see a higher ceiling with James Harden as opposed to Darius Garland, both from a scoring and a playmaking perspective. And Ivica Zubac and Harden were arguably the best one of the best pick and roll duos during Harden's tenure in Los Angeles. So I think the Cavs having two bigs and Mobley and Allen that could definitely benefit from a guy who's a great facilitator like Harden, can throw lobs maybe better than anybody in the league right now. I think they just saw a higher offensive ceiling with Harden on the team as opposed to Darius Garland. That's what I would think they were doing there.
That makes sense. Shout out Jared Allen for dropping 40 points the other day against the Blazers.
That was weird. That was
I watched
a weird
it.
one.
It was cinema. It was absolute cinema. That makes sense in terms of the pick and roll perspective. Yeah, James Harden brings, which, by the way, talking about James Harden being a great facilitator, what a far cry we've come from 2008, his MVP days, when it was,
he used to be known as a ball hog. That was his reputation.
He's averaging 50.
Right.
Or 40, I can't remember. But I don't know, man. The track record has been there for over a decade at this point, which is Harden. Yes, the peaks and the valleys are very stark, which means that the peaks are really, really good, but the valleys are just, just 9 points in game 7, brother. Like they won't even make it to a game 7 if they and there's also questions about Donovan Mitchell. His teams never make it to a conference finals. Now, that's not necessarily to his fault, because if you look at his statistics, he usually is pretty good in the playoffs. Yeah. So maybe if they have a consistent player like Mitchell combined with James Harden, it's going to work. I don't know, man. It's going to be fun because of the pick and roll with, again, Mobley and Jared Allen. But Cleveland wasn't going to win a title before going into the season. And I just don't think that changes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I don't know. I think two things can be true. I think I can justify why the Cavs would want to make this trade, but I also agree with you that James Harden isn't that needle mover that puts them over the top, that actually makes them that much better and increases their chances of winning the East. If you're the Cavs, though, and you really, really wanted to make a splash, and you're like, you know what, we have Donovan Mitchell, a guy who plays his ass off in the playoffs every year, plays super well. If you really want to shake things up, why not go get Giannis? Like, why not package Evan Mobley, whatever draft capital you have? Maybe you get a third team in there and just go for it and get Giannis. I get why the Bucks might not want to do that, because the Cavs, they're division rivals, they're in the same conference, so like they wouldn't want to help them out. But if the Cavs really wanted to make a move that makes the rest of the East kind of like crap their pants and be like, oh, we actually have to look out for the Cavs.
Shiver me timbers.
Like, why not go get Giannis? Like, that's the move that's like, damn, the Cavs are really going all in trying to win this. I know people like to talk about the potential of Evan Mobley. People are infatuated with how good he can be. but he's been in the league for 4 years now, and he's kind of been the same player since he got drafted. You're not really seeing that development that makes you super, super confident that he's going to turn into this elite, like, I don't know, like Joel Embiid type big, to where he's like a 25 point per game scorer, but he's also giving you like 3 blocks a game and is like a top 10 defense, like a Wemby, basically. What people think that, even what Wemby is now, Evan Mobley, I don't even see him touching that. And Wemby's a generational player, but like 4 years from Evan Mobley, and we haven't really seen him get substantially better since he entered the league. So if you're the Cavs and you really wanted to shake things up, that's what I would have tried to do. I don't know if the Bucks would have went for it, but who knows? We'll see how it works out.
I mean, you didn't hear anything about it. Like, for context, Mobley is average. His point average has gone from 15, 16.2, 15.7, 18.5 to 17.9.
Yeah.
To this year. And honestly, the biggest thing for me was rebounding. It's gone from 8.3 to 9, 9.4, 9.3, 8.8. Like, those aren't bad numbers, especially because he's usually playing power forward.
He's averaging, it's career low shooting percentage, career low in rebounding. It's like, where is that? It's year 4. Like, that you should be a guy where, has Evan Mobley made an all-star team?
It's actually year 5.
It is year 5. Okay. So like, when are we going to see that superstar leap? I feel like 5 years in, and you're a guy who was drafted, number 3 overall? Like, I feel like the guys who turn into superstars, we see it pretty quickly. And so I don't know if I'm hanging on to Evan Mobley for dear life if I have a chance to go get Giannis. I don't know if I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Speaking of Giannis, I know we have multiple trades to talk about, but I want to just put an intermission here because Giannis has yet to be traded at the time of this recording. You told me that after the Jaren Jackson trade that included, again, 3 future first-round picks, that you didn't think it was going to happen anymore. Do you think that's the case?
That's what I said. I was watching First Take this morning, and they were talking about how the Harden trade might have impacted the Giannis sweepstakes. But what they should have been talking about was how the Jaren Jackson trade was going to do that, because they both play the same position, and the Memphis Grizzlies got 3 first-round picks and 4 players. They got one young player with potential and 3 first-round picks, which is basically what the Bucks are looking for Giannis. And will they get that? Maybe eventually, but I don't think they're going to get it by the deadline, because if you look at the teams that are seriously pursuing him, I think the Knicks have pretty much bowed out of the race, because we haven't really been seeing a lot from them over the past few days. So I think they're out, like, for now.
I mean, they're on an 8-game winning streak. I think they're buying into the fact that their team can get them over the hump.
I think that's part of it. And then you look at who else is competing for him. Miami's in there. They're the team that kind of has like a mix of what the Bucks want on both sides, because the Bucks want a lot of draft picks and they want like a really, really good young player in exchange for Giannis. So like, their offer is like Tyler Hero, Jaime Hawkins Jr., Khalil Ware, I think like maybe one other guy, 2 first-round picks, and I think 2 or 3 swaps, which I think is a decent offer. It's kind of a mix of what the Bucks want, but I think they want like a more solidified young player. And if you look at teams like the Warriors, who basically only have draft capital to offer, because you can get into it when we talk about the Warriors. Their young talent definitely isn't moving any needles in terms of what they have to offer with.
And that's entirely their fault. Like,
with Brandon Podziemski.
Jonathan Kuminga more, I promise you his draft capital goes up.
Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, like the Bucks are good on them. I can guarantee you that. They're good on that.
You're like Colin Coward?
Yeah, we're good. That's what they're saying to that. I'm sure they're intrigued by their offer, because the Warriors can basically offer all their draft picks for the next 10 seasons to get them. So that's what makes them intrigued. And then the last real team that's been rumored a lot over the last few days, and I think if he does get traded by, I think the deadline's at 1:00 Pacific time tomorrow, it'll be to Minnesota, because that's a team that he would really want to go to. And they've been the team that's pushing for it. And the Bucks apparently want Jaden McDaniels and a bunch of first-round picks. But the problem is the Timberwolves don't have any draft picks. So they'd have to get a third team in there. And so I think there's just too many obstacles to get a Giannis trade before the deadline tomorrow. And I think if he does get traded, it'll be sometime during the offseason when teams can make better offers. Teams will know what their draft position is going to be. So that'll make the Bucks think about what picks they want or whatever. Yeah, I think there's just too many obstacles to get a deal done by tomorrow. I hope I'm wrong, though. I hope I'm wrong.
What about Portland? I've heard Portland a lot in the last 2 days.
Portland, too, is interesting because I guess Dame is recruiting Giannis, which obviously makes sense. They played together for 2 seasons. Um, I saw that rumor too, but I also saw that Giannis doesn't want to go there and he wouldn't sign a long-term extension there. That's also the thing that teams have to think about. If they trade for Giannis, is he going to sign a contract extension there? Because he's under contract for one more season next season, and then he has a player option for the following year. So you have to hope that if you trade for him, it's not like a 1.5 season rental and you can actually get him to commit long term. So I think because there's hesitancy of him signing a long-term deal with the Blazers, I don't think they're going to give up whatever young assets they have to go get Giannis. Because, I mean, it's an attractive destination for sure. Drew Holiday's there. Dame's there. Denny Avdia's there. All-star reserve Denny Avdia, by the way. Dame's coming back next season. Shaedon Sharpe is probably going to be the guy that the Blazers would have to give up, I assume. That's Portland's best young player.
Sissoko probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think Giannis would extend there long term.
Caleb Love too. Forgot about him. Yeah, that's fair. The name came out, the team name kind of came out of the blue in the last 48 hours. I don't know if that's how that felt for you, but it made a little bit of sense. I guess I'll get into my Warriors rant right now. I just feel like the Golden State, we knew that it just felt like the Warriors were zeroing in on Giannis. And the idea is that if the Warriors get Giannis, then sell the house.
Yeah.
Sell the house for the Ferrari is essentially what they would do if they got Giannis. Why? Because you got the Koenigsegg in the yard too, which is Stephen Curry.
Right.
So you just need 2 fancy cars, and those could really probably get those. You could compete with the championship for those. I don't know if you win one, but you can compete at least. It got so much to the point where Draymond Green's thinking his time in Golden State is over, bro.
Yeah.
Did you watch the interview or the conference last night?
I did. And I hope he doesn't get fined for that because he just dropped a bunch of expletives to get fined for nothing if he doesn't get traded.
He said, what a ride it's been. I've been here for 13 and a half years. And if this is how it ends, what a ride it's been. Like, that was the most somber I think I've ever seen Draymond Green. And this man has won 4 titles.
Yeah.
Like, you have everybody on the edge of their seat. And it would be so fitting for Mike Dunleavy Jr. then to just not do anything.
Yeah.
Get everybody all riled up, have Draymond thinking his time with the only team that he's ever been with is over. And then you're like, I'm just playing with you.
Yeah.
So if the war, going all in, this idea that it was Giannis or nothing is great. If you land Giannis, it's really not ideal if you get nothing.
Yeah, what did you say to me earlier today? In sports, it's worse if you it's not bad if you take big swings and miss. It's bad if you don't do anything. It's bad if you don't try at all.
It's bad if you take swings and misses because you clearly don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you're trying.
Right.
It's worse if you just don't try at all.
Wait, Ethan, breaking news.
What?
Breaking news. 2 minutes ago, the Golden State Warriors are trading Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield to the Atlanta Hawks for Kristaps Porzingis. Shams just broke it. My heart sank because I thought we were going to get a Giannis trade live on air. But the Warriors just traded for Kristaps Porzingis right now. Just now.
Let me put the phone down. Instant reaction. It's a step forward. However, you just gave up. Clearly the Warriors don't. How do I want to phrase this?
I mean, they have to be out of the Giannis sweepstakes now, right?
100%. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get a clip here. I'm on the live, so I'm gonna get a clip. This is going on the Instagram, by the way. Let me think. Hold on. Let me start this over. I want to give Overlord Ben thing to see. Hold on. Okay. Instant reaction. Clearly, they're out of the Giannis sweepstakes now because you traded away Jonathan Kuminga. The Warriors clearly need a center. So we've checked a couple boxes. I was just talking about how it seemed like the Warriors were doing, it was Giannis or nothing. Clearly, I was wrong. My apologies, Mike Dunleavy Jr. It's not enough. Can we agree on that? It's not enough.
I agree.
Because the thing about the Giannis trade was that was going to be an instant pair him with Stephen Curry, and now this is a title competing team. You go fill out the wings, you go get a complimentary guard, and you go get a wing. And that's a championship roster right there, competing for a title. Porzingis is an upgrade. There's no denying that. I'm not going to be ungrateful because I think Kristaps Porzingis is still a great player. He's obviously had some injury issues, but this roster as it is right now is still not enough to win a title. And I think that Stephen Curry has 2, maybe 3 years, because Stephen Curry doesn't strike me as somebody who is going to play until the wheels fall off. So if we want to be realistic, you got him for a couple more years. And this isn't enough of a team to do him justice and give him a title competing team. I don't know. It's cool. Like, I'm glad the Warriors actually did something because clearly this team is just treading water. But it's not enough.
How did B-Pods survive the trade deadline, bro?
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
That's true.
But they seem to all but likely be out of the Giannis sweepstakes because Jonathan Kuminga was the number one name that everybody wanted to be included, that the Bucks, I would assume, would have wanted in that trade.
Right.
And instead he's going to Atlanta. He's going to Atlanta. Wait, let's talk about this. Because last I checked, Jonathan Kuminga pretty much overlaps with a first-time All-Star Jalen Johnson.
Pretty much, yeah.
So I understand the Hawks are just bringing in everybody. The Hawks have been busy.
The Hawks are playing my career. They're just trying shit right now.
The Hawks are bringing in a lot of people right now. And clearly they're not all going to be on the roster this time next year. I would imagine Jonathan Kuminga is one of those players, though, because he is a young talent who a lot of people would assume that he hasn't even hit his ceiling yet, nowhere near it. But you have Jalen Johnson, who we both agreed on, we thought was going to be, and multiple people thought that was going to be the number one player that they were going to build around. I'm not saying they're bringing in Jonathan Kuminga to compete with that, but he plays near the same position. They don't play the same way, but like there's overlap. They're both big wings.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like the Buddy Hield move makes sense. Except he plays the same position as CJ McCollum. I don't know. I get why ironically, I understand. I just flacked on the Warriors for, this is good, but it's not enough. It makes more sense for them than it does the Hawks. There's a reason why we didn't hear anything about this.
Yeah. And I guess if you're looking for a silver lining, if you're a Warriors fan who's wondering if they're still in the running for Giannis, it looks like by the looks of this trade, based off what we're seeing, they didn't have to give up any draft picks.
They didn't. No.
So it was a player swap. It was a straight 2 players. It was a 2-for-1. So you have all your draft picks still. So like, does Mike Dunleavy Jr. at the 11th hour just try and send the house to the Bucks and get Giannis? Like, I think that might still be
a Steph Giannis Porzingis lineup is definitely one of the lineups I'll ever see in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Again, Porzingis is one of those players. It's like the Jaren Jackson talk that we had earlier, how the ceiling is up there, but he just has injuries.
Right.
And clearly when he was healthy for the Boston Celtics when they won the title, he was important. I don't know if they win that title without him, but we just don't see that very often. There's a reason why people were confused with the Trae Young trade because he didn't really even get a chance to play with Porzingis that much because Porzingis was hurt and so was Trae Young. But
right.
You would think that if you're going to trade away a surefire, young talent like Kuminga, I mean, they probably don't think he's surefire because of how they played him or did not play him.
Right.
But you would think that they would look for something a little more certain. And Porzingis you can't guarantee that. You can't
Yeah.
guarantee he's going to be available for you on every given night. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's as inconsistent for availability as Anthony Davis, for example, but I don't know, man. It's clear that they just wanted to get rid of Kuminga.
Have you seen that that Five Guys meme where it's the kid sitting in Five Guys and it's like, bro wanted Five Guys for lunch but can't afford it. Peanuts it is then.
We ain't
champ.
got Five Guys money.
Yeah, the Warriors wanted Giannis, but I don't think they can afford him. Kristaps Porzingis it is. I get ready to learn Kristaps Porzingis, K Porz.
You know, if he's healthy, this is a playing team. This is a team that is going to tread water like how we saw previously, and now that's assuming they don't make another move. But you traded away a player that you haven't been playing, and Buddy Hield is a streaky shooter. When he's on, but when he's not, he's not.
Right.
And you traded him for a player who, you know, when he's available, he's great. But when he's not available, you clearly miss him because he's a big presence in the middle. So this team is probably going to just end the same way that 2023 did, 2025 did. Like you win a playoff series and then you bow out, which is just such a disservice to Stephen Curry.
As a Warriors fan, would you rather have Porzingis, or would you have rather them done a deal with Chicago and gotten Vucevic? Or are they kind of the same to you? Like it doesn't.
Well, Vucevic is available more.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like Kristaps Porzingis, I've been a Porzingis truther since when he was on the Mavericks. I still believe that they ended that Doncic Porzingis duo too early. So I'm a K Porz believer.
Yeah.
Tingus Pingus, if you will. But Vucevic historically has been available more often.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be ungrateful though, because I was talking all that trash about how Dunleavy Jr. has been twiddling his thumbs at his desk and doing nothing. So I'll take it. And Kuminga relationship Kuminga needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
So no disrespect to him. He needs to go, clearly. The question is, what's going to happen to Steve Kerr? Because his contract's coming up soon. Is he going to bow out? Because I don't know if the Warriors let him go. Like if the Warriors decide to just let him go, they're not going to fire him. But is he just going to step away?
I feel like as long as Steph Curry, before I get into that, also from Shams, the Warriors just traded Trace Jackson Davis to the Raptors for a 2026 second round pick. So there's also that
Mike Dunleavy Jr. said, "Here, take another one."
I feel like
take all my young players that I missed on.
I feel like as long as Steph Curry's playing, I feel like Steve Kerr is going to want to coach. I just feel like that's how it's going to be. And True. I feel like he'll have that option. I don't think the Warriors are going to force him out or like fire him, I should say. I feel like he'll be able to leave on his own terms. And I feel like as long as Steph Curry is there, then Steve Kerr will want to coach.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, so Trace Jackson Davis, again, another player that hasn't been playing very much. You get a second round pick. Cool, I guess. But Tony's in the chat talking about Giannis going to be a Timberwolf.
Tony, speak it into existence, Tony. Speak it into existence.
Bro, you don't want to team up with Anthony Edwards.
I'm intrigued by the thought. How is it going to work with Rudy Gobert? I have no idea. Figure it out.
I was going to say,
figure it out. Like, you have Giannis and Anthony Edwards. Just figure it out. Anything is better than Milwaukee.
The idea that Naz Reid would have to get sent to Milwaukee just makes me sad as a basketball fan.
I mean, they're going to get Jaden McDaniels, too, if that deal goes through, too. I don't see how they can keep J-Mac if they get Giannis. So,
Tony goes, we spun the wheel and on TOT and it landed on the Timberwolves.
That means it has. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and Giannis is going to be a Timberwolf. That's just that's my bold prediction. Didn't you ask me earlier if I said a Giannis trade was going to happen? Yeah. I said no. I'm changing my mind. He's getting traded to the Timberwolves. I'm speaking it into existence right now.
I just don't know what that trade package looks like, dude. Without picks.
They'd have to get a third team in there. I don't know how they're going to do it, but
Mike Dunleavy's just licking his chops. He's like, I just got a second round pick. I'm feeling bold.
If the Warriors were in on, I don't think the Warriors would be in on that as a third team because they obviously would want Giannis too. But that'd be funny if the Warriors helped Minnesota out and help them get Giannis.
You know what's kind of funny? The Raptors trading for Trace Jackson Davis makes a little more sense than the Hawks trading away Porzingis. Because the Raptors just got rid of Ochai. I'm blanking on his last name because they sent him to Brooklyn. They sent him to Brooklyn to get under the luxury tax or something like that.
Yeah, they got under the tax
the tax. So now they bring in Trace Jackson Davis, who obviously doesn't have a big contract. They traded him away because we're back on what happened because the Clippers sent Chris Paul to Canada. I'm going to say it one more time. Tony, I know you see it. Oh, wait, what did he say? Unless the Warriors really finesse the Bucks with a Draymond and Pods. That's not happening. That's not happening. Don't do that to me. Tony, the Warriors have Porzingis. I know you definitely already saw that, but I heard the Rockets are getting Kobe White. Sorry, that was low-hanging fruit. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Dude, they sent him to Canada. I love Canada. Toronto's a lovely city. Tony said Chris Paul got deported. He did. The funniest part is that
is this the worst retirement tour of all time?
Oh yeah, it's worse than
Is it worse than Paul Pierce in 2017? They don't love you like Paul. They don't love you like that, Pierce.
The Paul Pierce retirement tour gets flack because of that moment.
Yeah.
You got to remember, he hit that 3 in the Garden when he was on the Clippers. That was pretty legendary.
Right.
But, dude, this is a nightmare. Now, of course, the Raptors are reportedly not going to make Chris Paul report, which leads you to think that they're just going to release him, which adds up to, again, wanting to get under the luxury tax. But, dude, I know we were talking about this earlier, how the Clippers have become one of the best teams in basketball since Chris Paul was literally just sent home.
Right.
I didn't realize that they still had his rights. I thought that he was released.
I guess you and I were talking about the phrasing of how they like the phrasing of that move, because we both just assumed they're trying to cover it up by saying they cut him. They wanted to say it nicely, but no, they literally just like, you're still on the team. We're just not letting you show up to work. That's what it was.
Yeah, I guess. So Tony goes, all the years of Chris Paul being a butthead in the league justifies him being done this dirty. I don't think so. Like, Chris Paul is a very polarizing figure in basketball, in that, some people love him and other people hate him.
Yeah.
Don't ask Rajon Rondo about that. I'll tell you, or DeMarcus Cousins.
Right.
But this is just disrespectful at this point.
The first thing I thought of, and I texted you, I thought of the song Ignorant Shit by Drake featuring Lil Wayne, and there's a bar in the song that goes Rookie of the Year 06 Chris Paul shit. And I mean, he just got traded to the Raptors. I think I thought it was fitting to.
Can I get the Hardwood Classic Chris Paul Raptors jersey?
Somebody, I was gonna say
that'd be just as mythical as the Hawks Melo
just
jersey.
Like their Hawks Carmelo Anthony jerseys. Somebody's already ordering like custom Chris Paul Raptors jerseys, even though he's probably not even gonna play, step foot in that arena.
You won't even see him on the bench. Yeah. I guess at this point it seems like he's probably done.
Yeah.
Like, we assumed he was already going to be done because he obviously wasn't playing for the Clippers, but I don't know, man. It's unfortunate. It's disrespectful in my opinion. My team used to battle Chris Paul damn near every year.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry hit him with this ain't 2014 no more.
Right.
All those years ago. And now here we are. And Chris Paul is getting sent to Canada. Toronto's a lovely city. I was just there last year. It's great. It's beautiful. A little cold, but it's beautiful. Chris Paul don't deserve to be there. He's not going to be there because he's not getting asked to report. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just,
yeah,
it's just a bad look. It's a bad look. And then the Clippers trade James Harden too. They're just they had the unction going,
right?
And now it's not.
We need a Brook Lopez trade next.
Dude, that might happen actually.
Because I don't even think he plays for them anymore. I think he's Mr. DNP.
What do you mean? He hit like 9 triples like a few weeks ago.
That was like you said, that was a few weeks ago, but I don't know if he's in the rotation anymore.
Well,
Let
they
me
have a
see.
Visa
Let me
Zubats.
see. Oh, never mind. He played today against the Cavs.
Who's winning that, by the way?
Let's see.
It's still going on, I think.
The Clippers are down 20 at half, 62-42. Or no, sorry, the third quarter just started and the Cavs are up 20.
Clippers ball, baby. Wouldn't it be funny if they trade James Harden and they immediately fall off again?
That would be funny. That would be
Like,
very
it's
funny.
like we had a good thing going. Anyway, the Chris Paul one was the one that was like the Anthony Davis trade this morning was the big one, obviously. I woke up to that message.
Yeah.
Then I was on I was in a call, and Chris Paul got sent to Toronto. I was like, what on earth? But that wasn't the only thing. There's one more that we got to talk about, which is Lonzo Ball.
Okay.
This is obviously a more minor one because I think he's getting waived. Is that what you were saying?
I think I saw that the Jazz are most likely going to release him, and he'll be a free agent.
So I guess Lonzo Ball is free to do whatever, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I understand he wasn't really doing a whole lot in Cleveland.
Right.
And at the end of the day, this is a business, so I get it. But, like, dude, it's Lonzo Ball, bro. Like, the man shouldn't even be playing basketball anymore because of his injuries.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He didn't get done as dirty as Chris Paul, but, you know.
Yeah. I don't have a ton to say on that trade. I just feel like I'm not surprised that they're going to release him. I feel like that's what they should do. Because if Lonzo still wants to play, I feel like he should be on a team that has a chance to be in the playoffs or something. He should be able to play competitive basketball. I think I'm just the trade that we actually didn't touch on was the Jared McCain to the Thunder trade.
Yes.
And that trade was hilarious to me because Jared McCain, who's been in the G League for the most of the year, mind you, he's been in the G League for most of the year, got traded for the same amount of first-round picks as Luka Doncic did last year. They traded him for 1 first-round pick. And you can say Anthony Davis is worth, like, clearly he's worth, what did the Wizards give? 2 first-round picks. So you can say if you want, they traded him for 2 first-round picks. But the Mavericks got 1 tangible first-round pick for Luka Doncic, and the Thunder just gave up 1 and 3 seconds for Jared McCain. Which, I mean, the Thunder have 50 million draft picks, so I'm not going to get on them for making a trade that they think is clearly going to make them better. And maybe he'll get some burn because SGA has an abdominal strain and he's going to be out through the All-Star break. So we'll see how he plays on OKC. He showed a lot of promise his rookie year on the Sixers. So I get that they're buying into his potential. Is he worth 4 draft picks? I don't think so. I don't think so. Stevie Chuck in the comments says Jared McCain equals Luka. Apparently, that's what the GMs think.
I just don't understand why the Sixers made this trade. Like Oklahoma City, it's glut. Like this is the glut they talk about in the Bible. Like,
yeah.
How many swingmen can I get? It's not enough. Mike Dunleavy Jr., take notes. But it felt like Philly had something going. Yeah. I understand that McCain, you like you said it, he's been in the G League for chunks of the season. But dude, Embiid's not washed.
Yeah.
Clearly. Embiid's not washed. Tyrese Maxey is blossoming into one of the best guards in the entire league. He already was last year, but this year he's continued to take a step forward. I feel like every time the Sixers win a game, I see Maxey 30 points plus.
Yeah.
Paul George is suspended, but he is, he was doing his thing, I guess, to an extent. What you expect from this 2025-26 Paul George.
Yeah.
And Jared McCain, when available, was playing solid ball. Now, obviously this implies that the Sixers are going all in on VJ Edgecombe. OKC is reaching 2023 Chiefs and 2010's Mercedes level of hate watching. Dude, Stevie, is OKC going to win another title? I know you and I, Palmer, we picked Denver all those months ago.
Yeah.
And Denver's still in it. But I don't know.
They look a little more vulnerable this year, but it's hard to see them losing in the playoffs I think if the Nuggets figure it out, they're still the biggest threat. I think the Spurs, it's too early for them. I think they're a year away from being a year away, maybe next year's the year. I think it's too early. I'm not sold on Houston. Sorry, Tony. The Lakers are, I don't know what the Lakers are. They're a mess. I know they played the Nets. They beat the Nets yesterday, I think. Congrats. but that doesn't mean you're going to win the championship. The Clippers might make the playoffs. Minnesota, they always find a way to mess it up. They always find a way. Unless they go get Giannis. If the Timberwolves trade for Giannis tomorrow, there is a chance that the Thunder can get knocked off in the Western Conference playoffs.
If the Timberwolves trade for Giannis, if they don't beat the Thunder, that's disappointing, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think Denver can still meet them there as long as, you know what's funny? I think Denver can't draw Houston. If Denver draws Houston, we'll talk about this way later, but like if Denver draws Houston, I think that Houston takes them down.
You think
and then OKC just, I don't think Houston's a problem for
the Thunder.
OKC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a weird pecking order in the Western Conference, I think, because the Thunder are more vulnerable. But back to what I was saying, I still think, like I said back in October, we have this on record, thankfully. I said, what did Stevie say? SGA Dark Magic will take them far, but I feel like it makes too much sense for OKC to win. Therefore, they won't. Same idea I have about the Seahawks this weekend. I'm not qualified to talk about the Super Bowl for a multitude of reasons. I'll just start yelling again. But for what I can talk about on here is that I think that the Sixers I still think that they can hit the 40-win threshold, and how the Eastern Conference is, it's a barren wasteland, and then the big-ass Pistons logo in the middle of it.
Right.
And Jaylen Brown is playing like an MVP, allegedly, so I've been told. But, like, the Sixers can still crash the playoff party, I think. I think they should still.
Yeah.
But they're clearly going all in on VJ Edgecombe. I just can't believe why they gave up on Jared McCain after just 1.5 years.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess if you're getting draft picks from OKC, they can't be that good, can they?
Unless it's a protected pick from somebody else.
I'm just seeing that I'm looking at this article right now, and the second round picks are specified. So it says one of the second round picks is for the Sixers in 2027, and it's the most favorable between, it says through Houston, OKC, Indiana, or Miami. Now, I think the Pacers are going to be better next year when they're healthy, and those three other teams are going to be good. So like those draft picks aren't going to be anything special. They're not going to be anything that's going to put them over the top. So I don't know. I guess they've got 4 draft picks for one player. Maybe they use those picks and make another move sometime next season. Everything's just go get Giannis. Like if you have draft picks, just give them to Milwaukee and get Giannis.
Hey man, it's crazy how when you're a fan of the player, that wherever team he goes, automatically should be competing for a championship.
Yeah,
it's kind of just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot. Dude, I literally opened with the Jared McCain trade, and oh my God, I forgot about the Bulls.
The Bulls, yeah.
The Bulls.
Good question.
We got to talk. Stevie just reminded me. Okay, well, I know we're well over time, but Jaden Ivey got sent to Chicago in a 3-team trade. Speaking of the Timberwolves, Jaden Ivey got sent to Chicago, which, by the way, tragic Bronson alert. Like
they gave up on him.
They used to.
The experiment is over.
I was told once upon a time that Jaden Ivey was the future of this franchise. I was actually never told that, but I was told he was going to be a key piece of it.
Yeah.
He's going to go down as like the remember how the early 2000s Sacramento Kings, how they had to trade white chocolate to get Mike Bibby?
Yes. Yeah. From was it Memphis? They got him from did they get him from Memphis? Was that
Yeah.
Okay.
Jaden Ivey might be the Jason Williams of this era's Pistons team, because I think because they get Kevin Huerter in the 3-team trade.
Yeah.
Which I think is a net plus, like the Ninja.
Yeah.
So, but let's talk about the Bulls, because Stevie very kindly asked for the Bulls. Kobe White. So the Bulls get Mike Conley Jr. from the Wolves, by the way. Mm-hmm. Then they proceed to ship him and Kobe White, not to the Houston Rockets like how Tony was hoping for, to the Charlotte Hornets, which they trade away Colin Sexton. But did this confuse you? Because I feel like it confused me.
So I must be in the minority here, because when I first saw this trade, I was wondering what the advantage is for Charlotte. Like, I know Kobe White is a very good guard, but I just don't see why. I guess if you're trading Colin Sexton, like, are they going to run like a LaMelo Kobe White backcourt? Is that what they're going to be doing in Charlotte? Like, that's the only reason I could see why this might work. Because I just didn't really it didn't really jump off my screen as, oh, the Hornets got better and won this trade. For the Bulls though, like it's about time, dude. Like, welcome to rebuilding and welcome to tanking, welcome to rebuilding. I think this was needed. Like their little blow up. They traded Vucevic, traded Kobe White. Their roster construction right now, I don't understand it because they have like 20 million point guards on their team. But this has to mean that it's rebuild time in Chicago. And it also means it's the end of the DeRozan, Levine, Vooch era, an era that saw them win 0 playoff series, and they got 0 first-round picks back for all 3 of those players.
But they had the number 1 seed.
Right.
At one point. Yeah, I didn't even talk about Vucevic trade. I got so locked in about the Warriors trade actually doing something. I got shell-shocked.
Yeah.
Like, the Celtics the Celtics might be right up there now.
They honestly, I was saying to someone earlier, I think I wouldn't be surprised if they won the East this year without Jason Tatum with the way they're looking.
Are we going to have to start a dialogue if they do that?
We might have to.
The anomaly?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then Anthony Simons to Chicago. Simons is going to watch Stevie because not for nothing. The new look Bulls starting 5 are all low key chopped. 0 Riz or Aura from the United Center now.
Like, I mean, Stevie brought up a good point that they still have Giddey and Buzelis, who I think are 2 good players to build around. But it's just like, who else? How are they? Like, it's time for them to tank. So I feel like if you're getting rid of all these other guys, you might as well field offers for at least Josh Giddey. I feel like for him, but I don't know.
Well, we still have a few more hours left.
I think the deadline is at 1:00 tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it Eastern time or no? Is it Pacific time?
Pacific time. Let me see.
Okay.
I'm gonna look.
There's always a trade that happens in the last 3 hours.
3 Eastern, so 12 Pacific time is the trade deadline.
So okay, so if I wake up at my usual time at 12:30 p.m., I should see the. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I only did that once in the last month. But I mean, we still have a few more hours left of the trade deadline before the trade deadline. I know you said it. I want to make sure you double down on this. Is Giannis getting traded before noon Pacific tomorrow?
Book it, document it. Giannis will get traded by the deadline tomorrow. I'm speaking it into existence. He will be in Minneapolis on the Timberwolves by the end of the trade deadline. Book it. I'm doubling down.
You're doubling down. I respect it. We'll end on that. That's all for this special trade deadline episode of the Professional Hate Watching Association. Wow, what a lot to go through. And I still got the Warriors rant in mid-trade. What are the odds of that? What's the timing of that? Whatever. It's still not enough. I'm so ready for another second round exit. Bring it on. Let's do it. At least we're getting to the second round now. I'm excited for that.
Before it was what? A play-in exit, or
we were gonna lose
a gentleman sweep in the first round if you made the playoffs.
Yeah, no. Play-in exit like when Clay went over 10 in the elimination game.
Yeah.
So I was gonna get war flashbacks, but now we're going to the second round and losing in 5 probably to somebody. Probably OKC. But
yeah,
we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, that's all that we have for this episode of the Professional Hate Watching Association. We're gonna try to be more consistent. It's my fault. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, that's it. We will see you next time.